Hey, welcome to 10 Minutes of Business Goodness. And today we're going to talk about people who are selling their businesses. A lot of people are getting toward the end of working with their businesses. They're thinking about their grandkids, or traveling, or retiring, or maybe just doing something different than what they've been doing to this point. And so a lot of people are looking to exit their businesses. But the question that you have to ask yourself, and it's the most important question you're going to ask yourself, is what is it that I want to get for my business? How much money do I want to get? And the amount of money that you can get is directly related to how much of the business is you and how much of your business is a business. Now, what do I mean by that? A lot of people have businesses that are really just jobs. They're gig kind of businesses. I'm a proofreader. I'm a massage therapist. I'm a mechanic working out of a shop. But they're not really businesses in the sense that they could actually leave those businesses and do something completely different. They're businesses in the sense that if I'm not there every day, if I'm not doing it, then it doesn't happen. Now, it also happens to different kinds of businesses. You could be a manufacturer of, like, say you do injection molding of plastic bottles, or you could have a little construction company, or in addition, a remodeling company. If you have to be there, the test is this. If you can take a vacation and not deal with a phone call, if you can play a round of golf and not deal with some emergency, if you can take any substantial time off and be away from your office and not have a problem, if the business will keep running, then you have a business. If you have to interrupt your round of golf or your vacation or any other thing that you want to do to take a phone call or to go back to the office to make sure things are happening, then you have a job, you're self-employed, but you don't have a business. So the question really becomes, what do I do? What do I do to make sure that I have a business and not a job? And the simple answer to this is one word: systems. Systems are the thing that define a business and makes it something that will work without you as opposed to having your own job. So, what do I got to do to have systems in my business? Well, the first thing you got to do is to figure out from the beginning to the very end how your business works, how you acquire your customer, what you do to make your product or service, how you deliver them, how you deal with problems with your customer when you have to make corrections, and how you deal with getting paid in the back end of your business, buying whatever you need to deliver your product or service, buying whatever you have to do to make that happen. And then finally, the whole thing is a big circle. So you define in the very first piece of it what all the steps of the business are. And once you've defined all those steps, then you create processes for each one of those steps. Then once those processes are created and they're defined, then you document them. And once you document them, then you train your staff on how to do them. And the funny thing that happens is when you document your processes and how things are done, you start to find out that what you thought about how your business runs is different than what actually is happening. And then you adjust. So now, why is all that important? What we found in our experience is a company that has processes and procedures that are documented and they're trainable have a number of benefits while they're running. One is they're not so dependent on individual employees. For example, there are a lot of businesses that have one or two people that work for them that really know how to run that business. And if those one or two people leave, then the business is in trouble. And they're not the owners. They could be a manager. They could be somebody that runs the production floor. They could be somebody that schedules your clients in. It's usually in the place that you least expect it. And it's somebody that really has a lot of power because they really know how the business is running and the owner doesn't. And so what happens is those people frequently hold the owner hostage. They get pay raises, they make unrealistic or unreasonable demands of the owner, and the owner, because they feel like they've got to hang on to that person, frequently gives in. So if you find yourself in that position where you have a partner or employee that basically you cannot live without, then you need to start thinking about systematizing your business. Business is systematized. You can replace employees as you need to. You can add new employees as conditions warrant, and you can train them. Why? Because you figured out how all the jobs are done and you know what's going on in your business. So the advantage that somebody has is having a systematized business is it's much easier to run, and it's run by metrics, by measurements. You know when a good job's being done. You know when people are doing their jobs. And so it becomes easy to expand the business and make it bigger. So those are all great things for a business that's ongoing. But for a business that's selling, it's absolutely critical. If you're selling a business and you have processes and procedures in place that can run, the business can run without you, you can get anywhere from twice to 5 times what you could if you are the business, where you have to be there every single day for it to run. And so one of the questions we got in the run-up to this show was, okay, that's great, but when do I need to start doing that? When do I need to start actually making this happen? And typically, it takes a long time to sell a business, especially a business where there's a lot of businesses like your business. It takes a long time to sell a business. You should expect to take a year to sell your business. Reasonably, it should expect to take a year to sell your business, unless somebody's knocking at your door to buy it right now, because you're going to have to find some way to get your business known that it's going to be for sale. You're going to have to find somebody to buy it. Then you're going to have to negotiate through the terms, and then you're going to have to actually make it happen. So in our experience in the businesses we've helped people sell, it's taken them about a year. So if I'm thinking about selling my business and I want to sell it tomorrow, then the idea of systematizing that business is not going to seem as attractive, but I want to take a minute to talk you into doing it. Not only because of the value it's going to add to your business, but also because of the saleability and the ease of running the business. You may actually not sell the business at all. I mean, what if you could turn your business into something that was mailbox money, where you didn't need to sell it, where the checks came to you and every once in a while you stopped in and shook hands with the people running it? We've seen that happen. We've helped that happen. So there's all kinds of ways to look at this. But at the bare minimum, if you're going to sell your business and you're going to get the most value you can get out of it, you need to make sure that the new owner can step right in and work the business without you, without a month transition even. Because that's typically what happens in business sales. Somebody says, hey, I'll give you a month or 3 months and I'll work in the business and transition to business because I know all the customers and I know all the suppliers, I know all the vendors. But if you've ever dealt with a large corporation, like say you've dealt with Boeing, or you've dealt with AT&T or another large corporation, you don't really care who the CEO is. Most of the time, you don't even know who the CEO is. But you understand how the accounts payable works, you know how the purchasing works, you know all those things work because they have processes and procedures for you to be able to deal with them. And that's what I'm saying. There's no reason why your small business can't be that organized to where who's running it's really irrelevant. And if who's running it is really irrelevant, then somebody's buying a machine. And if they're buying a machine, it's like, what if you bought a car and how well that car worked was dependent on the salesperson who sold you that car? Because the salesperson may not always be there, or they may not like you at some particular point. You're not going to be willing to pay as much for that car as if you know the minute you drive it off the lot, it's going to run as well as it runs now, a year from now, 2 years from now, and 3 years from now. The fact that a business can be autonomous adds a tremendous amount of value to it. And I would suggest that you talk to us about ways that we can help you systematize your business to make it run better and stronger and add more value when it comes time to sell. And maybe if you systematize it enough, you won't have to sell it at all.